Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Kemal Nasr Dwiputera and I'm from English Literature student from Al-Azhar University. And today I will discuss my topic about ode poem. And this is the poem that I chose. Okay, it's called like There was a time when meadow, grove, and stream, the earth and every common sight, to me did seem apparel in celestial light, the glory and the freshness of a dream. It is now as it hath been of yore, turn wheresoe'er I may, by night or day. The things which I have seen I now can see no more. That's the poem called Ode on Intimations of Immortality from Recollections of Early Childhood by William Wordsworth. Um, this is a classic example of a Pindaric ode. Consider the first three stanzas of Ode of Intimation of Immortality from the collection of Early Childhood by William Wordsworth. Pindar odes were delivered to boys and young men who triumphed in the Greek classic games, and were performed with song and dance. A Greek chorus would move to one side of the stage to deliver the strophe, shift to the other side of the stage for the antistrophe, then delivered the epode from center stage. Okay, I choose an ode poem. The type of the poem. What is an ode? An ode is a short lyric poem that praises an individual, an idea, or an event. In ancient Greece, odes were originally accompanied by music. In fact, the word ode comes from the Greek word eidin, which means to sing or to chant. Odes are often ceremonial and formal in tone. There are several different types of ode, but they are highly structured and adhere to poetic forms. Okay, what is an ode poem or an ode poem? An ode poem is traditionally divided into three sections or stanzas. The first one, the strophe. In a Greek ode, the strophe usually consists of two more lines repeated as a unit. In modern usage, the term strophe can refer to any group or verse that form a distinct unit within a poem. The second one is the antistrophe. The second section of an ode is structured the same way as the strophe, but typically offers a thematic counterbalance. The third one is called the epode. This section or stanza typically has a distinct matter and length from the strophe and antistrophe and serve to summarize or conclude the ideas from ode. Next one is what you call different types of ode poems. Like I said before, I choose the Pindaric one ode. Okay, I will continue to explain what are the different types of the ode. Okay, the first one is the Pindaric ode, which I choose for my topic to discuss in this presentation. Pindaric odes are named for the ancient Greek poet Pindar, who lived during the 5th century before century, and it's often credited with creating the ode poetic form. A Pindaric ode consists of a strophe and antistrophe that is melodically harmonious and an epode. Pindaric poems are also characterized by irregular line, length, and rhyme schemes. Okay, that's the first one. That's the Pindaric ode. Okay, we can continue to the Horatian ode. Named after Roman poet Horace, or Horace, I don't know, who lived during the 1st century. The Horatian ode consists of 2 or 4 line stanzas that share the same matter, rhyme scheme, and length. Unlike the more formal Pindaric ode, the Horatian ode traditionally explore intimate scenes of daily life. Okay, that's the second one. We're moving to the third one. That's called irregular ode. Irregular odes follow neither the Pindaric form nor the Horatian form Irregular odes typically include rhyme, as well as irregular verse structure and stanzas patterns. That are the type of different type of ode. There are three: Pindaric ode, Horatian ode, and irregular ode. Okay, I will continue. Um, for the aesthetic part that uh, in this task that I will prefer to choose another type of poem, and it's called Ode to a Nightingale by John Keats, and I will read the poem for you. Thou was not born for death, immortal bird. No hungry generation tread thee down. The voice I heard this passing night was heard in ancient days by emperor and clown. Perhaps the self-same song that found a path through the sad heart of Ruth when seek for home. She stood in tears amid the alien corn, the same that of limits of times hath charmed magic casement, opening on the foam of perilous sea in very lands forlorn. Okay, what about the aesthetic from that poem? For my personal, this is my personal thing. Okay, I will say that poetry, literature that evokes a concrete, concentrate imaginative awareness of experience or a specific emotional response, though through language chosen and arranged for its meaning, sound, and rhythm. The aesthetic about the poetry is that little but contains important things. The semantic phenomenon about that poem I chose is the poem primarily focus on the object that nothing can last, even as the speaker compares the immortality of the song of the nightingale to the human immortality. Comprised of 80 lines, Ode to a Nightingale is the longest of the great odes, apart from being one of the most anthologized poems in the English language. Ode to a Nightingale is the most famous poem by John Keats. Okay, this is the poetic experience. Poetry engages a fundamental meaning making process that underpins our understanding of the world more broadly. This meaning making process is metaphoric. That is, we understand that world through metaphor. Poetry is simultaneously the creation and investigation of meaning. Creation entails something new, never before we considered, but investigation entails something that already exists to be investigated. Poetry sits on the principle of a paradox, threatening us with a relative state of weightlessness and quick meaning. Okay, that's the end of my presentation about poetry that I chose. I can recap it for you. The poetry I chose it's called an ode poetry, and I choose the type of ode. It's the Pindaric ode uh, that give you more complex and more longer than the other odes that I search in this type of poetry. And thank you. Walaikum. If there's misheard or missaying that I say, I'm sorry and thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.